Hey everybody, my name is Patrick O'Connell and I'm the Global Director of NewThing, and I've got my partner in crime, the guy who got me into this, Dave Ferguson, our lead visionary. Good to see you, Dave.
Hey, good to be with you, Patrick.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about this conversation because God's truly doing a new thing, and we're not just saying that. He is truly doing a new thing. There's really some remarkable things happening, Dave, but talk to us a little bit. Just remind us of the vision. What are we doing? Why are we doing it?
We want to be a catalyst for movements of reproducing churches that are relentlessly dedicated to helping people find their way back to God. And we have a pretty clear strategy. What we want to do is we want to help leaders and churches reproduce at every level. Disciples, leaders, churches, networks, and movements. And what we have discovered over the years is that the best way to do it strategically is by starting and sustaining networks. Because it's in networks that people actually come together. We talk about being friends on mission. That's what we are. We're all friends on mission. We got each other's back, where we're going after a common cause. And the people we really serve and try to come behind are what we call apostolic leaders, or sometimes we talk about as movement makers, because those are the people that start and sustain these small networks, 4 to 6 churches that come together and say, hey, how can we plant more churches to advance the Jesus mission? At the end of 2021, we'd helped plant in total more than 5,600 churches. Is that as we look over our shoulder over the last 5 years, in the last 5 years, every church that we planted, it actually reproduced 7 more. So for every church we planted, it reproduced 7 more. And we're just really excited about what God's doing. And we would love to come alongside other movement makers and help them do it.
We help churches reproduce at every level, and we help those churches work together to plant more churches because we want to see more churches planted. But you referred to it, Dave. The more that we have leaned in and learned about networks, the better things have gotten. and what I mean by that, it has created collaborative spaces for leaders to innovate and do new things. It has become a place where they can just do life together. You know, leadership can be lonely for some leaders sometimes, and pastors need each other. And what is true has been when we see networks started and sustained, we've seen more churches planted. You remember Sam Stevens. Tell us a little bit about Sam Stevens.
Yeah, I remember I was in Houston. I'd actually asked him to speak at a conference, and we were backstage, and I was telling him about how we'd started putting churches into networks. And this is a guy who don't know his name. He's the president of India Gospel League. He's helped plant 100,000 churches. And he looks me square in the eye and he says, hey, Dave, networks are the backbone to movement. Networks are the backbone to movement. And so this thing that we were kind of onto, we kind of thought maybe would work. That was like confirmation of, oh, that's the thing we have to really go after. We're now in over 50 countries around the world, but we would love to be in all 196. And part of this GoTogether initiative is we want to go from, okay, we talked about having planted more than 5,000 churches. We think God has actually challenged us to dream big enough to say, how can we plant more than 25,000 churches? And back to what we said, we know that's going to be networks. And so that means going from, what we have now is several hundred networks to, we believe, over 5,000 networks. And one of the key things in order to make this happen, in order to accomplish those goals, we're put together a training system called our movement system. And this goes back to the global piece. There's things that we've learned from our global friends, some of our friends, particularly in India and Africa, who really have seen movement that we haven't seen, that we've embedded into the movement system. So the movement system has 5 parts. There's the reproducing disciple catalyst, reproducing leader catalyst, reproducing church catalyst, reproducing network catalyst, and reproducing movement catalyst. So 5 different parts. I would say in particular, and we're now in beta in the reproducing disciple catalyst, some of the things that we've seen happen in India and Africa, we're now have embedded into this training that people can have access to, and it can help us understand how we can actually do it in a North American context. And to reciprocate, I think some of us in North American context, we've figured out some things about leadership that we can share with the rest of the world. So we've have that in our reproducing leader catalyst. This GoTogether initiative is really our next big dream, to really for us to come alongside other movement makers that are listening in and go, how can I be a part of this? And we want to share this with you and hopefully help you reproduce leaders at every level.
God continues to open more doors to us. We want to continue to do our best to come alongside movement makers everywhere in the world, whether they're in Paducah, Kentucky, or in Nairobi, Kenya. It doesn't matter to us because we're looking for that gifting mix. We want to continue to say yes to people, and so we're asking people to join us, to partner with us, to become investors with us in this Go Together initiative so that we can continue to say yes. Very simple. Go to newthing.org/Go Together for all the talking points, for all the information. I can't be more excited about something. I really can't, because through Go Together, through your leadership, through the team's leadership, we have an opportunity, and you always say this to me, we're not going to get it right. In fact, we're going to probably make a lot of mistakes, but we're going to pave some new ground for others to come alongside of us or come behind us in the future. And I really love that spirit, Dave. I love that about your leadership posture. And so we're looking to help the church as best as we can and humbly move into that next season. People just go to newthing.org, Go Together, prayerfully consider partnering with us so that we can continue to do this work. It's that simple, and I think it could be that powerful.